Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Every day there are countless books and articles that are published offering the key on how to make your business a success. It's easy to feel overwhelmed trying to keep up and run your business. That's why Deb Creer created the Business Power Hour. Keep up on the latest trends, best practices, and techniques for how to make your business a success. Let the Business Power Hour do the heavy work for you.
Good morning. Good morning. I am Deb Creer, and I am passionate about giving professionals the tools that they need to make themselves and their businesses as successful as possible. And we're going to have so much fun talking about our subject today. And, so I'm just going to jump into it because it really is something that we're going to have so much fun talking about. So that's a teaser, right? Everybody pay attention. So please join me in welcoming Sarah Hubbard to our program today. Welcome, Sarah. How are you?
Thank you, Deb. I am fantastic. I am super grateful to be here today. And I can already tell our energy is going to mesh and be sky high with this one.
We've been talking for 30 minutes already. And so, we really are going to have a great time. Of course, we discovered she lives in Colorado. I am the Colorado girl, even though I'm in Hotlanta. And so, we're sisters from another mother.
That is true.
Yeah. So we're going to have a great time. Well, okay, we're going to get a little serious. I'm going to tell folks a little bit about you, and then we'll jump into this. So Sarah Hubbard is the founder of The Intentional Network and the author of The Intentional Networker, how to strategically build your sphere of influence and transform connections into high value opportunities. That will come out in January. So everybody pay attention. After helping over 1,200 families achieve home ownership and use mortgages as financial tools for over 15 years, she's mastered what AI can't replicate. Pay attention. Authentic connection. Her MAPP, MAPP framework leverages AI, so we do use it, to cut prep time in half so introverts and nervous networkers can focus on what really matters, building trust and transforming connections into high value opportunities. So again, Sarah, welcome.
Thank you, Deb. It's always a little humbling when you hear about like your journey of like, this is about me.
I always think, ooh, that sounds like a cool person. And then that's
can
me.
I be that person?
I know. And of course it's all true. It's just so weird. Especially women, we don't always brag about ourselves, right? There's a wonderful woman in Colorado you need to meet. Her name is Jeanette Sibley. She's been on our program several times, and she is all about how to get your brag on. So
I definitely need an introduction to her when we get done.
Yep. And for those of you listening, go back, listen to our programs where we had Jeanette on because it is fabulous. Well, Sarah, tell us a little bit about how it is that you got to where you are today.
Yes. So I'll start with that. My vision of life did I ever think I would be doing residential mortgage financing, and now this other venture of life that's really come into my world of creating communities, keynote speaking, and really encouraging people to grow their businesses. But I'm an athlete all the way through my life. I played softball, I played field hockey. I enjoyed all of that, and I played all the way through college. And through all of that, I learned great teamwork, communication skills, a lot of like baseline skills that you learn that you don't realize transfer beautifully into a business world. At the time, you don't know that it does. And through that time, I got hurt a tremendous amount. And I had physical therapists that were more psychologists / physical therapists that helped you with both the mental and physical aspect of healing. So I was like, that's it. This is what I'm going to do. This is a non-negotiable. I got this. And after college and working in the field for a while, I went to apply for a doctorate program and I got rejected from 15 different schools.
Yikes. And you said you had a 3.9 GPA.
3.9 GPA, working in the field full time, volunteering over 20 hours a month in pediatric physical therapy over at a children's hospital and trying a variety of different things. And I went back to some of these colleges and said, what do I need to improve on this application? My references are outstanding. I clearly can eat, breathe, and sleep it. And they were like, we just need a higher GPA. It's a really competitive program. So they're cutting the applications at 4.0, not even reading anything that's below that. Now, one of the frustrating things for me was while I was working in clinic, the last year of your physical therapy degree, you are in the field in
Right,
various
right.
different settings.
Hands on.
So we had people come into our office on their last year. They could not talk to people at all.
Oh, right.
They could regurgitate all the
hmm
things from the
hmm
book. They could regurgitate, but
Right.
somebody sitting on the
hmm
table
hmm
and squeezing a ball because they just had a hip
hmm
replacement and they're like, oh, you're doing hip
hmm
adduction. The average human does not know what a hip adductor
No,
is.
no. They
Okay,
just know I have trouble going up and down my stairs, so I can't see my
correct.
family.
Right. Or we're trying to build up muscles on your
hmm
inner thigh to
hmm
support what we
hmm
just replaced. We're building up these
hmm
muscles. So they were unable
Right.
to communicate this
hmm
properly. And so I was really frustrated. I came out to Colorado for my
hmm
cousin's high school graduation,
hmm
met my now bosses, and they were like, you should come work for a mortgage company. And I was like, no, no. I don't know
hmm
anything about mortgages.
hmm
I've never owned a home. I don't speak the language. And they're like, we think you'd be really great. We'll teach you
hmm
everything you need to know.
hmm
Interviewed, landed the job, went home, talked to my old bosses, and said, I need a raise and I need benefits. And they said,
hmm
no, no. And I said, I quit.
Doodles.
And at the time, not married, didn't have
hmm
children. And it was just
Right.
I figured, what do I have to lose? If it
hmm
stinks, I'll come back to New
And it's
Jersey. And
Colorado.
exactly. So 2 weeks later, moved out here and then just immersed myself in all things residential mortgage lending. So I did a
hmm
lot of the back end stuff
hmm
first. So I did loan processing stuff,
hmm
crossing T's, dotting
hmm
I's,
hmm
supporting the people that were doing the sales. And then about 4 years into that, I switched over to the sales side of
hmm
things. And my
hmm
journey there was to start
hmm
really rough.
hmm
So I am the youngest and only female originator at my company, and I am 14, almost 15 years now into it. So
hmm
we've got
hmm
very seasoned
hmm
men, very, very big brains,
hmm
and they have grown successful businesses
hmm
sending direct mailers only.
Wow.
So we're not
hmm
completely out of the works here, but
hmm
targeting
hmm
certain areas based off
hmm
of area median income,
hmm
different property values, different things like that,
hmm
but mass mailing and
hmm
hoping that your phone rings. And
hmm
when your phone rings, it's, hi, what's the rate? And I'm like, hi, what's your name?
hmm
Who are you? Like, I,
Right.
I don't
Let's
know.
get
I
to
don't
know a little
know.
bit about you 1st.
I don't know what the
hmm
rate is. I don't even know what this house is. Is this your
hmm
primary residence,
hmm
investment property?
hmm
And so about 6 months in and $60,000 in debt later, I was drowning. And I'm
hmm
like, I can't do this. I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't know
hmm
how all of you were successful.
hmm
I don't do super well in debt personally. So I
hmm
was physically and
hmm
mentally just
hmm
not at my best spot.
hmm
Went to a mortgage conference that I had already booked previously, and sat there. And I remember talking to they're selling coaching and different things
hmm
as they do at conferences. And I remember asking one of the ladies there that had been doing this for many years, like, what is the recipe to success? And she
hmm
was like, do what you say you're going to do. And I was
hmm
like, there's no freaking way that this is that easy. And she's like,
Right.
seriously, in
hmm
your field, in
hmm
residential mortgage
hmm
financing, do what you say you're going
hmm
to do. So
Right.
I came back and I was like, there's got to be a better way to do
hmm
this. This is when I started learning about
hmm
networking. And I went to my local chamber of commerce here in the Douglas County area.
hmm
And I was met with a lot of skepticism.
Right.
I was met with, you look like you're 20, you're a
hmm
female.
hmm
And everybody that
And
we've
it,
met
yeah. And
that does
you're
what
a
you do,
mortgage person?
exactly.
hmm
Every
hmm
single time I
hmm
tell people that, like I see their dynamic literally
hmm
physically change. Like,
hmm
does this mean you're
Yeah.
just going to try to sell me or what's
Right.
happening here?
Right. And then they call you honey and
Yeah,
no.
yep. And so I had no idea that that was such a stigma that
hmm
existed.
hmm
And I remember a very blatant conversation with a seasoned realtor in the
hmm
area who's still
hmm
a realtor
hmm
who was just like, no, like I didn't even take your phone call or this meet until I knew you were a chamber member and like
Ah.
good luck. Like it's not even
hmm
going to be a thing
hmm
for you. You're really going to have to show people that
hmm
you are worthy.
Right.
So I did a lot of watching. I
hmm
did a lot of making people my networking mentor
hmm
without them knowing that they
hmm
were my networking mentor at the time. And I watched people that I assumed and heard that they were having good success in
hmm
business. I'd watch their interactions, I'd pick their
hmm
brains a little bit. And I just started trying to try out different ways of how I talked
hmm
about myself, how I talked about my
hmm
business, but most importantly, showing up as me. Okay.
Right.
Because behind
Right.
what I happen to
hmm
do professionally really well,
hmm
there's a whole nother person that loves people, is curious as all get out about people, and truly wants to help them. My original plan of physical therapy didn't work out. This new kind of
It's
plan
still the same thing. You're going to help people.
it's helping people in a much different way. And turns out there's so much crap out there about mortgages. And even now today with AI is a beautiful tool, but it's also can be a very inundating tool.
Right.
So honestly, the magic happened at about year 2 or 3 with my networking. I stuck with it. I was consistent. I tried out a boatload of different groups, left them, stuck with some of them, organically started leading some of them. And I really just ended up finding that my value add to most of my referral partners was teaching them how to show up and be different in a room where there's 5 other realtors, where there's 5 other mortgage lenders, where there's, financial advisors, insurance, I call it the firm, are just really, really inundated industries.
Right.
And I didn't even really know I was doing this as part of my value add. And then about 3 years ago, somebody had asked me, why don't you go talk to our networking group? It's a networking group called Provisors. If you guys haven't heard of it, it's fab. And so I gave it to my group, and they were all like, you are onto something. And I had questions, and there's a lot of accountants and engineers in that room. And they were like, how do I actively listen? And I was like, ho, 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 ho. Like, I thought we were beyond this, but I guess we got to bring this back all the way to the beginning. And, I realized how you could be excellent at your craft, but not excellent at business development, about talking about it, and about forming relationships. And when you ask very successful people, no matter what they do, whether it's online networking, selling something, product sales, it's all about the relationships. And if you can't show up as yourself and be genuinely curious about other people, you're going to have a really difficult time moving forward and getting traction in this magic networking word, right? And so I started to create this framework that we're going to go over here in a little while. And now here I am, keynoting on it, writing my book, which will be out in January of 26, like you said. And I'm just a really big proponent of telling people, like, I'm not going to give you this overarching idea. I'm going to give you the idea, and then I'm going to give you ways that you can actually implement it right now, so that you can walk away and try it today, 6 months from now, a year from now. I'm all about giving you the hows, the stories that I did. And like you mentioned, using AI as a tool to help some people better prepare that may feel real insecure to go to a conference, a one-to-one, a room of 20, whatever it is. And then I also realized there was also a gap in networking from when you're just starting your business. There's a whole lot out there that's, baby businesses, first small businesses, medium-sized businesses that are just starting. And then you have like really large success people that have hit over $500,000 to $1 million in revenue. They've hit it. And there's just really nothing in the middle. And so I created the intentional network this year. I was leading about 4 different groups last year, which, by the way, is way too many groups to be committed to if I had to go on a soapbox about it. But I was leading them. I had stepped away from 2, tried out a bunch of different ones, and there was just nothing in there for that next level of people that's not millionaires at the moment. They maybe will be, and not people just taking from you because they're like, oh, she's super seasoned, I need to know all of her secrets. So I created the intentional network to be people that are revenue of 250 to 500K plus business owners for a minimum of 3 years, working in and on their business and looking to grow. And looking to be really intentional about the people they support themselves with. We're not tracking leads. We're not tracking attendance. You are a professional. If you can't make it a priority, that's on you. That's not on anybody else. That's your job. And so that's kind of where I'm at today, is still originating mortgages with a ton of integrity and honesty, growing the intentional network, and then promoting my book and starting to hopefully pour into people to improve their networking and hopefully ROI at the end of the day, because that's what we really all want.
Right. And the funny thing is, we all, and I'm going to say everybody needs to do networking better and or different. So I'm going to confess, I love networking. I'm shy, right? And
I can tell you and I would not go work a room together, that one iota.
And, so I would do 3 networking events a week. I belong to several business associations here in Atlanta. I, belong to a lot of organizations when we were back in Colorado. And I would go at least twice a week, if not 3 times a week. I loved it. I work from home. That was how I got to see people, right?
Yes, it was also part of your socialization.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And then COVID hit.
Ugh.
And I have health issues. And so I couldn't go back networking sooner than a lot of other people. Since COVID, I have been to 3 networking events and 2 conferences in 5 years. 5 years I have done that.
Holy crap.
And one of the conferences, I got COVID. I was like, see, I wasn't supposed to be here. But the thing was, I really sat down and thought about it. And it was like, okay, I haven't been. And I kept up my membership in those business associations. I think it's very important to support your local communities.
All day long.
Yeah, and it was under $100 each. So not a huge deal, right? But I thought about it. It was like, okay, what have I missed in the 2-ish years at that point when I was doing this by not going? I missed the people. I mean, that really was the big thing. I missed the Southern food. I mean, the caterers down here. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Not so much the programs, because usually whatever it was, I could get from somewhere else.
Yep.
But the big thing was, I thought, have I lost business by not going? And the conclusion I came to was no, I really haven't lost that much business. And I pivoted. I do all my networking almost all exclusively online, all sorts of things like that. But, it really, and so this is what I'm trying to say is I was networking to be social, exactly what you said, and not to get business.
Yes.
And I think that's probably the biggest, anyhow, in my brain, the biggest mistake that people make.
And I will call out women in general with this. There are some men that struggle, but men have a much easier time typically being blunt and asking for business or asking for what they need, right? For whatever that is, whether that's a 5-minute conversation or an hour conversation. But at some point in time, they're slipping in what they need out of it. And it's business focus.
Right.
Ladies tend to be like, that sounds too salesy. I can't be too pushy.
Right.
I can't do this. And I'm making a very generalized statement here. But I do believe if you are going for the socialization, that is one thing, right? But if you hadn't seen a change in your business,
I wasn't doing it right.
Correct. There was aspects that you were probably doing really well that I encourage people to do, but the conclusion piece of by the way, this is also what I do professionally. This is also what I do to make money, and this is what I can do to support you, or let me open up to my network, or whatever it is that you're looking to do to grow. That piece of that conversation is so important. And then the piece where I believe everybody kind of craps the bed is the follow through, the purposeful follow through, which is my last P of my mapping thing that we'll get into. But if you're not doing it, you're not going to meet somebody one time and be like, yeah, well, she's lovely.
Right.
But I don't still really know what she does.
And I couldn't pick her out of a crowd.
Yeah. And so we've got to be really, really intentional about what we're trying to get out of that event, what we're trying to get out of our business. Are we in growth mode? Are we in sustainability mode? Which, by the way, guys, is still pretty sexy if you've got it figured out and you can sustain and go deeper.
Yeah.
You don't always have to be fixing and changing it.
But you might want to have people in the pipeline just in case, right?
You need to have a constant flow in the pipeline, especially for myself in the mortgage business. My closing ratio is, I would say, still on the higher side, but we've got lurkers right now, baby. People are like, why would I abort a 2% interest rate when I'm going to take on a 6% interest rate and triple my mortgage payment? They've got to be highly motivated here. And so I've talked to 30 people in the past week, and maybe some of them were refinances, but the ones that were purchasing, 2 of them are actually serious about it. The other ones are like, well, we're just going to get this in line. It may happen.
We're going to see what we could get
from now. And you're like, when you have that type of non-committal, you've got to have opportunities coming in the door to keep things flowing.
Yeah. And you can't turn them away because they might actually turn into, right. But yeah, they're the window shoppers is maybe the way to put it, and I love going and people watching when I network, right. To see, how people do it and all those things. And I remember this was back when I was still in Colorado, big networking event. I mean, several hundred people there. And we got, this little group of people who knew each other because, of course, that's the other thing. You go to networking and you go, oh, I know that person. Yep.
Clicky.
Yep. And so there were, group of 4 or 5 of us that were standing there talking. And this woman rushes up, thrusts her business card at each one of us, and then starts to leave. And I went, what? Wait, come back here. And she turned and she came back, and I was like, what the heck? And she literally tells me, I bet my husband I couldn't give away every one of my business cards tonight. And of course, what did we all do? Off in the, tossed it on the table, on the floor, whatever. None of us were going to, I don't even, I couldn't have told you what she did 10 minutes after she walked off. But I bet she made her bet with her husband, because she gave all of her business cards away.
Yep.
But, it was, I guess the biggest thing was it was such a lost opportunity. Instead of, I can give away 250 business cards tonight, can I give away 5 that might be the right people?
Thank you. And do you know what I call a person that does that? I call them a card stabber.
Yes.
Like, do. And let me tell you how many times that before I've even walked out of the event, it's in the trash, the bathroom trash, the trash can that's in the parking lot before I get to my car. That I think was before we had CRMs and databases. People used to have stacks of business cards in their Rolodexes, and that they're served a time and a purpose for that style.
I've got the fancy. I still have the fancy book that has them all in there. Half those people are probably dead,
are not even doing that anymore. So there was a time and a place for it. And I go on a big tangent in my book about business cards as well, because one, you can learn a lot about a person about what type of business card they have. Electronic or not. One, have both, but 2, you're going to learn the first key of how that person communicates and prefers to communicate in that instant of getting the card.
Right.
But you cannot just go, you're not building anything organic, like true to yourself. Nobody's going to give you the time of day. They're like, you're just gonna be like every other salesperson that just expects me to be remembered with nothing else to it.
Right. I'll go off on a tangent here for a second. When I was in Colorado, I taught at Metro State, and I taught communications, right? Big, surprise. But we talked about getting jobs, meeting people. I mean, it was, the name communications was not what we did. But we had a young man in the class who was Asian, and we were somehow talking about business cards. And he came up to me afterwards and he said, can I teach you something about business cards? And I went, okay. And he said, it obviously, I mean, this is 15 years ago. It impressed upon me so much that I still do this when I get somebody's card. He said, typically, when you get somebody's business card at wherever it is, usually a networking event, right? You might or might not glance at it, but it almost immediately goes either in your pocket or on the table or something. And he said, for someone who is in the Asian culture, that's an insult, because the business card is an extension of themselves. And for those of you who can see this, I am taking a business card that I got recently at something. And he said, take it with both hands and look at it and read it. He said, and then put it in a place of honor. So not your pocket, not tossed onto the table. And I, obviously I thought that was such great information. But what I thought about it was, in that process, I read where they were from, what they did, what their title was, which titles aren't always all that impressive, but just a little bit more about them. And because I had read it, it sunk into my head.
Yes.
And I thought that was the coolest thing. And so I really try and do that. If somebody hands me their business card, I take it, and I might always take it with both hands because I might have something in my other hand, but I take it and I look at it, and I might even ask them a question about it. And I thought that was so cool because it's just a little bit more of a way to build a connection with that person. Now, I might work with them in the future. I might not. I mean, who knows? But I made them feel valued and seen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're taking notes. I taught you something.
I enjoy that extra thought, right? So I'm all about like adding value. And I tell people, I'm a big proponent of the way your card feels, right?
Yes.
And having it reflect who you are as a person, right? My company provides me really boring ass business cards, and I invest my own money into ones that have that soft matte feel.
A little thicker.
Little thicker. I've had people go the opposite direction, which I think is super fun. So it just shows that you're maybe a little bit more of a disruptive thinker, a little bit more of thinking outside the box, and you want to be remembered, right? But I think when you look at it, I tend to automatically do that, but I never really thought of how it was received on the other end when somebody gives it to you. And I've given my card to people when they ask for it all the time, and they very rarely read it. So I think that's actually a beautiful thing, of a really easy way to build trust early on, regardless of where the relationship goes.
And it's funny because when you give it to somebody, and I notice this now, if they don't even look at it and just shove it in their pocket, my first thought was, well, that was a waste.
Yes.
Right. And I'm old school. I want the card, I at least, I'm going to take it home and copy the stuff into my CRM or whatever. I don't know how to make my phone do it. And the bracelet, there's so many things. Now,
I know. I've seen it.
I'm going to do, but yeah, you talk about interesting cards. I remember one time I got one we're going off on a tangent here. The squirrel, right? He was a construction person, home builder, right? His business card was metal.
Oh,
yeah. And it had a ruler. It had one little pointy thing that was a screwdriver. It was the coolest business card in the world. And of course you kept it because it had all these other things.
It did things for you.
Yes. And it was crushing. One of the times when we flew somewhere, the TSA people went, that could be a weapon. Away it went. We're like, oh no. But yeah, how can you make your card a little bit different? Now, don't get too different. I mean, like the people that have the bigger round business. No, I don't want a bigger round business card. It doesn't fit in my hand, my pocket, my whatever. So still kind of stick with that.
Yeah, I've had people do size. Like the rectangular one where it just sticks up a little bit. It's not like it's like this huge one, but you have to put a little thought into that. It is a representation of you, your branding, and it should match where all of your other stuff is as well.
And folks, it's cheap. I grew up when you had to buy a gazillion. Yes. And now I went to a trade show over the weekend, and I actually bought more than I normally would have because I wasn't sure how many I was going to give out. I bought 200. And, if I bought 1,000, it might have saved me 10 cents.
Yes.
And so that's the other cool thing is maybe you're doing a trade show, have your business card trade show specific. Yes. And all of those things. And again, I mean, I'm going to come back to the word, and I wrote it I took notes too. The word that I wrote as you were talking was intentional.
Yep.
And so, I mentioned in your bio, the MAPP Framework, and it's MAPP. Correct. So talk to us more about that, because this is how you become intentional.
Yes. And so this is the 4 things that I can recommend anybody do, no matter where you are in your business, whether you are super successful, super seasoned, or just starting. If you could follow the framework of these 4 things, you will set yourself up for success far faster than anybody else when it comes to networking. So my first M in the MAPP is mindset and intention. So how many times now, Deb, you and I are very extroverted. And no matter how crappy of a day we could have, we're probably going to that event to get lifted up. Yes. Or that Zoom conference
and we're going to smile, and we're going to, we might get done and go, but
I will tell you, most of the population is not that, right? And that's okay. But you have to get yourself into the right mindset before you walk into anything, a small meeting, a large meeting, a conference. And that could be as simple as sitting in your car for 2 minutes, letting the day go, taking a few deep breaths, and asking yourself the question, what do I need out of this meeting today? Okay. And sometimes it's, you need a new client, you need an opportunity to do business.
And that's okay.
And people are actually better when you're upfront about that instead of beating around the bush. Sometimes it's a cybersecurity person because you maybe had a data breach of something, or you need a new bookkeeper or a CPA, or you're just trying to meet 3 new people in your community today. Whatever it is, I don't care what it is. You have to set that before you go into a room. And the reason why that helps so much is because it gives you a talking point when you're having a conversation with
Mhm.
somebody to begin with, right? You can listen about them, you're going to learn about them, and then it gives you a direction
Mhm.
instead of you going, well, I don't know what I need and I have to fake something or I'm not sure.
Mhm.
So taking those a little
Mhm.
bit of efforts
Mhm.
beforehand
Right.
to sit in your car, get
Mhm.
yourself prepared.
Mhm.
The intentional piece of it is where I actually bring AI into it, and
Mhm.
I will give you the prompts for this that I
Mhm.
have designed
Mhm.
as well. Is some of my groups give headshots or lists of people that are going to be
Mhm.
at that meeting,
Mhm. Mhm.
conference, whatever
Mhm.
it is. Or if you're having a coffee, if you and I were having a coffee, I could throw in your LinkedIn, your
Mhm.
website,
Mhm.
any of the information that I can find just before we even connected.
Mhm.
And the prompt allows you to put the date, the event, what you're looking to do.
Mhm.
And I want you to pick out 5 people for
Mhm.
me to connect with and
Mhm.
tell me why.
Right.
And then also give me talking points for them.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
And I have had it pull out people that I can't tell you that I would mesh. Like,
Mhm.
why would I talk to a gentleman that
Right.
owns a VA company, a virtual assistant company?
Right.
That
Yeah.
wouldn't seem like the greatest
Mhm.
spend of my time.
Mhm.
Let me tell you, he has been an amazing asset to
I
my thing.
love
Because
it. Mhm.
you know how many business owners he talks to that struggle right
This
now?
is true.
They're all
Mhm.
drowning,
Mhm.
right?
Right. And they
And
need to learn how to network.
they need to learn how to be a little bit more
Mhm.
organized. They need to learn how to network better, all of that
Mhm.
stuff.
Mhm.
So AI can do the hard work for you.
Mhm.
So if you are nervous to walk into that
Mhm.
room and
Mhm.
you're like, I just want to stand in
Mhm.
the corner and white
Mhm.
knuckle my drink because holy shit, how do I break into a
Mhm.
conversation?
Mhm.
These tools and doing this before the prep before you walk into a room helps get you into the right
Mhm.
mindset and helps use your 45 minutes,
Mhm.
1 hour, or two
Mhm.
hours the best way to
Mhm.
your thing.
Right.
One of the most, I did a lot of interviewing of people that classified as themselves as introverts for my book
Mhm.
because I wrote it from my perspective where it's like, this is super easy.
Yes,
And I
I'm going to
wanted
go
to make
talk to
sure
that tree.
the rock outside is my
Mhm.
best friend.
Mhm.
Um, and a lot of their things were some of their mindset that they got to get over it was I can always go home. I can
Mhm.
always leave. You can
Right.
always go to your safe spot of your
Mhm.
car. And they always seem to function better when they had a time limit on it.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that I was very
Mhm.
interesting to me. I
Mhm.
never really had thought about that.
Mhm.
But I have a 3-year-old and I have to get him by 5:30.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
networking events, sometimes I only have 45 minutes and I
Right.
have to
Mhm.
be very intentional
Mhm.
with my time.
Mhm.
If you don't have time to do the prepping or anything like
Mhm.
that, the other thing that I tell people to do, there's always people working that event.
Mhm.
Volunteers,
Mhm. Right.
the people
Mhm.
that run that
Mhm.
organization,
Mhm.
you can always ask them, "Hey, is there somebody here that does X?
Mhm.
Would you mind introducing me
Yeah.
to them?"
Mhm.
Let somebody else that's super extroverted, and I'm
Mhm.
pointing to myself for those that
Mhm.
aren't watching, let us do the introduction and the
Mhm.
icebreaker for
Mhm.
you, right? And people, I'm happy to do it. I know there's
Right.
so many other
Mhm.
people that are
Mhm.
happy to do it, but you have to go in with a plan
Mhm.
first and foremost.
Right.
Any questions on that?
I mean, I was just going to say it's funny because I know when, and when I used to go to networking events, if I got to the door and went, another one, it was probably not going to be successful.
Yeah.
Right. And more than likely, what I did was that was when I would immediately go in and find somebody I knew. I'm just going to go to talk to somebody I know so I don't have to really be here.
Mm-hmm.
Which, it was fun catching up with them and all those things.
Well,
But
so that at that point, that's socialization.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
not growing your
yeah.
business or your
You know,
footprint in your community.
and and then the times where it worked better or best, maybe one of the things I do, and maybe this, I would look for the person standing by themselves,
Mm-hmm.
the introvert, the person who doesn't know somebody. And I walk over and I just start a nice light conversation. Basically that, first time you're here, what brought you here, that type of thing, so that they're not feeling like they have to give me their 30-second spiel and because they're already afraid of it, right? And and then I say, hey, I've been attending these, quite a lot. Is there somebody I could introduce you to?
Yeah.
And you know whether I got something, whether I got business out of that or not, I went away going, that felt good. And so that was good. But most of the time it was one of those where what goes around comes around, right?
All day long. And then
Mhm,
also
mhm,
to go back to the woman that your card stabbing
mhm,
example, if she had gone in with an intention outside of just beating my husband
mhm,
and said, you know, I am trying to meet
mhm.
X amount of people, two
Right.
new people in my
Mhm,
community, because I
mhm,
just want to learn
mhm,
more on how I
mhm.
can support them. Do you know
Right.
how much more memorable that
Mhm,
would have been for
mhm.
you? and
Right.
the people that you
Oh
were
yeah.
sitting with in that
Oh yeah.
circle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that is
Right.
where I start off with mindset and
Mm-hmm.
intention. The second A, or the first A, sorry,
Mm-hmm.
is authenticity. Now, this
Mm-hmm.
is a buzzword right now.
Right.
It's
Oh
getting
yes. Are
thrown
you being
around
authentic?
like crazy because we've
Mm-hmm.
got AI coming, and is it
Mm-hmm.
real? And are you
Mm-hmm.
showing up on your
Mm-hmm.
social pages authentically? But I guess because if C made the sense here, I would also insert curiosity here.
Ah.
Okay. And this is really where I think people, if you went to go talk to that one person that was standing on the side of the
Mm-hmm.
room, they're super uncomfortable,
Mm-hmm.
and you just start being curious about
Mm-hmm.
them. Why are you
Mm-hmm.
here? Tell me
Mm-hmm.
about yourself. It's going to be difficult for them. They're
Mm-hmm.
probably better listeners than talking
Right.
about
Mm-hmm.
themselves. But do you know they're going to leave and go,
Mm-hmm.
God, that was so
That
lovely.
nice person talked to me. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So my biggest thing is you have to show up as yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Don't try to be an extrovert if you're not
Mm-hmm.
an extrovert.
Right.
Don't try to be somebody you're not. And
Mm-hmm.
my biggest thing that I really hate when I go to networking events is there's another loan officer in my area who I love as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I see her, she insists on telling me how much business she closed. Da, 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 da. And I'm like,
Yay.
I didn't even ask. And
Right.
one, that just,
And
it's
you
not a
don't,
contest.
right. And
And
you hate to say it, but you don't care.
no, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
And it just doesn't feel maybe that is her, right?
Right.
And I, I
Right.
I know her
Mm-hmm.
outside of all this, so I
Mm-hmm.
know it's not her, but
Mm-hmm.
that is not the real
Right.
you. And
When you're
showing
trying
up
to prove yourself.
correct,
Mm-hmm.
showing up as
Mm-hmm.
who you are and
Mm-hmm.
owning it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't try to change it. Be
Mm-hmm.
curious about the other
Mm-hmm.
people that
Mm-hmm.
you are interacting
Mm-hmm.
with. Don't label them based off of their profession.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. Just so
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's
Right.
really,
Oh
really
yeah.
hard. And they
Well,
may
you were
not be your
talking about it
person.
before. Oh, you do mortgages?
hmm I
Right?
get that
Mm-hmm.
reaction
Mm-hmm.
all the time. And I'm like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
so much more. I'm also a mom,
Mm-hmm.
badass
Mm-hmm.
keynote speaker, like
Mm-hmm.
super passionate about how
Mm-hmm.
people network and get,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
money in their business, right? But if you don't show up as yourself, the
Mm-hmm.
good, the bad, the
Mm-hmm.
ugly, the
Mm-hmm.
struggles, no one's going to want to
Right.
help you, and you are
Mm-hmm.
not going to stand out and be a real
Mm-hmm.
person,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that
Right.
development of that
Mm-hmm.
real relationship
Mm-hmm.
doesn't go any
Mm-hmm.
further.
Right.
A story I share. So my son came into this world via in vitro,
Uh-huh.
IVF.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very open about my journey.
Mm-hmm.
I had multiple losses. They
Mm-hmm.
told me I was old. I'm
Mm-hmm.
41, by the way, but
Ooh.
cool. I'll be
Mm-hmm.
old. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And so I showed up when I had my losses, and I showed up while I was going through my in
Mm-hmm.
vitro treatments. And I was gray, and I felt
Mm-hmm.
horrible during pregnancy. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I was like nauseous, couldn't
Oh.
eat. I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
Oh
but I was
no.
showing up to
Mm-hmm.
events and I was sitting
Mm-hmm.
down. People were
Mm-hmm.
coming up to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I was, because I was open about it, not
Mm-hmm.
Debbie Downer,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
open about how I was feeling, the struggles I had going on at the time. When I ended up having to go live in the hospital for over a month prior to delivery,
Yikes.
I was induced at 34 weeks, and we
Mm-hmm.
did
Mm-hmm.
21 days in the NICU with my
Mm-hmm.
little guy.
Oof.
I had meals at my doorstep for 45 nights
Oh my gosh. I
from my
love
community,
that. Mm-hmm.
just because I showed up as
Mm-hmm.
myself,
Mm-hmm.
as my
Right.
authentic,
Right.
curious
Mm-hmm.
self.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're in doubt and you don't know,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, I can't figure out
Mm-hmm.
what my authenticity is,
Mm-hmm.
try on a few hats, try on a few
Right.
shoes, whatever
Right.
those may be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, those are who you are going to
Mm-hmm.
attract as your
Mm-hmm.
referral people, and
Mm-hmm.
who you're going to attract as your
Mm-hmm.
client. And so if you're faking it, you're going to attract fake people with not
Right.
the right energy,
Mm-hmm.
and it will drain you
Mm-hmm.
faster than you know.
Right. And the networking world is a small world. And so that's the thing is if you mess up with one person, it gets around.
Yep, we say that all the time about Denver. Denver's a big, small community.
Mm-hmm.
You know this. You
Mm-hmm.
lived here.
Oh yeah.
There's a large
Mm-hmm.
population of us, but let me tell
Mm-hmm.
you,
Mm-hmm.
you have one small thing, or you burn somebody,
Mm-hmm.
that gets out faster than
Oh yeah.
anything
Oh
else.
yeah.
So you don't want to attract the wrong thing, and the
Mm-hmm.
only way to do that is to show up as your
Mm-hmm.
real self.
Yep.
The next letter, P, is
Mm-hmm.
precise messaging.
Okay.
Okay. This is really, really key,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to practice this.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing that I tell people to practice do is on your phone. This
Mm-hmm.
device or
Mm-hmm.
Zoom right here.
Right.
Use AI to craft
Mm-hmm.
your thing. I've
Right.
got a beautiful
Mm-hmm.
prompt below that can help you craft
Mm-hmm.
30 seconds, 15
Mm-hmm.
seconds, things that are really having
Mm-hmm.
you go deeper with your
Mm-hmm.
why and disruptive.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can't say it well, and you're
Right.
saying it with
Mm-hmm.
jargon, and you're saying
Mm-hmm.
it with terms that I use in my mortgage business every
Mm-hmm.
day, people are going to be like, I don't understand
Yeah.
what a DTI is, or
Mm-hmm.
LTV is,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
You have to use lingo that a 10-year-old understands.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You can insert some humor. I'm a huge fan of humor. If
Oh,
humor's
yes.
not your if
Mm-hmm.
humor's not your game, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes dry, sometimes serious, sometimes coming up
Mm-hmm.
with like I know a gentleman that does like Zackisms or
Mm-hmm.
a Zack fact every
Mm-hmm.
time he gets
I
up,
love
right?
it. I love it.
That is really, really important. And
Mm-hmm.
the only way you get better at your precise
Mm-hmm.
messaging is practicing it,
Right. Mm-hmm.
seeing what you look like when you're giving your 30-second
Mm-hmm.
introduction. Am I using my hands a lot? Am I saying
Yes.
am I
Are you
saying am I
staring at
saying
their
like?
shoes?
Are you shoulders in
Right.
because you
Right.
everybody can tell? Are you
Mm-hmm.
using the word I'm brand new? Let me tell you, drop that. Nobody
Yes.
needs to know.
No, never, ever, ever tell people you're new. Now you can say I'm new to the area, or
Correct.
yeah, but not I'm new at doing this.
I'm new at doing real estate. I can't tell you how many times I
Yeah.
hear that and I want to be like,
Yeah. Well, then why would I use you? Because I'm going to
yeah,
go to somebody who's more experienced.
correct.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But if you have to practice, and so we recently in one of my networking groups just did this actually yesterday, where we did a commercial swap. So I
Mm-hmm.
made everybody pick other names out of the
Mm-hmm.
bag and give the commercial that you hear on a
Mm-hmm.
regular basis of that person. And let
Ah,
me tell you, what other people
mhm.
hear is
Yes. Oh my
astounding.
God, we've done those before, and it's like, oh wow, is that what they thought I said?
Or is that what you think I do?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Right?
Yeah.
You
Mm-hmm.
think you know what
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
do know what you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's in your
Right.
head.
Mm-hmm.
It's already
Mm-hmm.
living inside of you.
Mm-hmm.
But are you clearly
Mm-hmm.
articulating it
Right.
to a
Mm-hmm.
group, to the
Mm-hmm.
person sitting next to you on
Mm-hmm.
an airplane, or in the 2 seconds
Mm-hmm.
you have at a
Mm-hmm.
conference, right?
Mm-hmm.
So precise messaging is
Mm-hmm.
key, and your
Mm-hmm.
precise messaging can change, okay? I
Right.
offer a boatload of products in my
Mm-hmm.
mortgage business, a boatload.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I can help
Mm-hmm.
anybody and everyone,
Mm-hmm.
but that is too broad
Mm-hmm.
and nobody can go, oh, I have somebody for you, or you can't be
Right.
tagged
Right.
as the go-to
Mm-hmm.
person for X
Mm-hmm.
if it's too
Mm-hmm.
broad. People
Right.
genuinely
Mm-hmm.
want to help,
Mm-hmm.
but if you don't give them
Mm-hmm.
a way to help you,
Right. Yeah.
they don't know how.
I've talked about this before on the program. I was in a networking group, and you had to go, your typical networking group. You went around, you gave your spiel. And this woman sold cosmetic products,
Hmm.
lotions, things like that. And and but they were specific. I mean, if I remember right, she said, she sold treatments for skincare, right?
Hmm.
And none of us could come up with a referral for her. But when you'd ask her, you would say, who is your target market? She'd say everyone, because everybody has skin, right? And so we worked with her a little bit and fine-tuned that. And so then she would say, I work with 16-year-old boys who have acne. Every single person knew somebody they could refer to her, right? Yes. And now, could it be a 23-year-old woman who still had acne? Yes, all of those various things. But when she was specific, that person came into our head. Until then, we couldn't think of anybody with skin. I mean, it was
Well, and we all have it, right? But
yes,
I
yeah.
can't tell you how many times I sit in rooms and I hear people say anybody, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
ugh.
No, no.
Even when
Mm-hmm.
I've been
Mm-hmm.
specific about mine,
Mm-hmm.
if somebody that you know has bought a house in the last
Mm-hmm.
2 years,
Mm-hmm.
it's time for me to have an introduction
Mm-hmm.
with them.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah.
They probably have a very high interest
Mm-hmm.
rate, or maybe they've done something about
Right.
it. But if your neighbor
Mm-hmm.
moved in two
Mm-hmm.
years ago,
Mm-hmm.
your parents, your
Yeah.
mom, your friend, you
Yep.
have to
Mm-hmm.
make it tangible to
Yes.
grip onto.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Precise messaging is key. And don't be afraid. I've had people send me their thing, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
well, this sounds great. Let's read it out loud and see how it goes, right?
Yeah.
I've
And they
had
go,
people
oh.
Yeah, I've had people send
Mm-hmm.
me their recordings, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, that was fantastic, or this is what I heard. Is this what you're
Mm-hmm.
going for?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Whatever it may
Mm-hmm.
be. So those are just a
Mm-hmm.
really, really important
Mm-hmm.
piece
Mm-hmm.
of on that side
Mm-hmm.
of, mindset and
Mm-hmm.
tension, but how you're
Mm-hmm.
talking about your business is
Mm-hmm.
huge.
Mm-hmm.
And the last piece is honestly where everybody shits the bed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mean this with a lot of love. A purposeful follow through
Mm-hmm.
is where it all goes to hell in
Right.
a handbag.
Right. We
So the
just
first and
magically expect they'll come back to us.
Or the first and foremost piece of it is do what you say you're going to
Yes.
do. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you
Mm-hmm.
are at an event and you say you're going to make an introduction to
Mm-hmm.
so and so,
Mm-hmm.
or you're at a coffee or whatever it
Mm-hmm.
is, give the
Mm-hmm.
timeline based off of your schedule. I tell this to people all
Mm-hmm.
the time. People get really caught up. Well, it
Mm-hmm.
has to be within 24 hours or 48 hours. It
No.
does not.
Mm-hmm.
You know your schedule.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know how
Mm-hmm.
full, not full, how whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Set up realistic
Mm-hmm.
expectations. This
Mm-hmm.
will be in your inbox by Monday by
Mm-hmm.
5 p.m.
Right.
Make sure it
Mm-hmm.
is. It is the
Mm-hmm.
first
Right.
component of
Mm-hmm.
building trust.
Mm-hmm. It can be
Bottom line.
earlier, but it should never, ever be later.
Absolutely earlier. And if it's later, I've had people say, well, what do I do now? I promised this. You know, I had my mom pass away or somebody got
Explain.
sick. Thank you. Tell them. It's not, don't apologize. Say, this is delayed. It's been on my to-do list. I had a family situation anyway. Here's the introduction as promised. Okay. First thing. The second piece of it is once you've met that person and you've done it, you've done their ask that you needed or that you talked about or whatever it is that you promised, you have to stay in touch with them. And so the way that I do this in my CRM system is I mark people's A's, B's, C's, or nothing. Okay. A's are they have a potential to send me business on a very regular basis. And I like them.
Yes.
Side note, I like them. Okay. They are going to get communication from me because I hate the word follow-up, by the way. Don't put it in your emails. Please don't say just following up. It's the biggest turnoff. It feels like somebody's working down the list, which you are, but they don't need to feel that way. Okay. And they're getting correspondence or communication with me maybe every week, every 2 weeks. Okay. B's are, you are a kick-ass human and you probably could fuel my business, maybe not as consistently as maybe a real estate agent can, but I still really like you. And I think there's overlap. So you're maybe going to get communication from me maybe 1 to every 3 months. And that communication, guys, is not, you know, a mortgage newsletter, a networking newsletter. Okay, this is a, hey, I just heard this interview on Deb's podcast and I thought
you'd like
of
it.
you. And share the podcast. I read this book and it blew my mind. Thought of you. Hope all is well. Or sometimes it's, you were on my mind this morning. Is everything good?
Right.
You know, they took a trip. You know that they, you know,
saw
whatever.
on Facebook, whatever.
Yes, guys. Yes. People get really caught up in this. What I say next has to, like, you know, I've got to add this immense value. You need to, yeah, I would love for you to add value, but you also need to be you as a person. Okay. So B's are middle ground, like them. There's a potential for us to do business, but not nearly as consistency. So you get a little less of Sarah. C's are, you're still great, but literally you do commercial banking and I'm not sure how I'm gonna
I don't know that we could ever overlap,
but I know I'm going to see you in my community. I know that you're great and that you're actively growing your network like myself. So you'll maybe get me every 6 months and I'll see you at events and I'll see you at different things, but you're just not going to get as much personalization from Sarah.
Now you might move up the list.
Correct. And the no designation is just a no for me. Okay. And people have asked me, why do you keep them in your database? Why not? Like I still made the connection.
Because they might, I mean, you know, the next networking event you go to, they might say, oh my God, Sarah, I have been meaning to get in contact with you because.
Yes.
You know?
And so that to me, that it just may not be a yes for you, but they still are part of your community, part of your database, or even like I have a great friend of mine that lives in Australia. Him and I talk probably quarterly, and he does a lot more business to business, and I'm a lot more business to consumer. But we send each other podcasts we've been on, keynote opportunities. He is an amazing human, just in general. So like. You just never know where these connections are going to go. So you have to keep track of them. And AI is a really great way to build systems around it, right?
Yes.
I am really great at following systems. I am not really great at creating systems. Okay. Not my strongest suit of life, but AI can do it for you in a second, right? And if you follow it and you're using your CRM well, I will tell you that is where the money is made.
Right.
Bottom line. You have to stay top of mind. You have to be remembered. And while those other three aspects are really, really important, this right here is one that really stands out. And the last piece I'll say about this is when you are meeting with people in a quick introductions, longer one-to-ones, you always want to find out if there's a way you can solve a problem for them, the hurdle for them, whatever it is.
Right.
And so the way I go about this is I ask somebody, I usually try to leave myself about 5 minutes if it's a structured hour situation. If I were to be of value to you, what would that look like? And I say it very specifically in that manner. If I was to be of value to you, what would that look like? And I don't care if you and I have spent the last hour talking about being of value to each other. We are human. There are things going on in our lives that are still going on in the back of our heads. That's going to pull typically what is top of mind for that person, business, professionally, personally, whatever it is. And they're going to share it with you. do not feel out of sorts if you do not have a way to solve it. Because I promise you, if you're thinking about it within the next few weeks, a way to solve that problem will come into existence.
Yeah, it manifests itself.
I would say, wooey or not, wherever your heart stands on that, if you are thinking about it and strategically making notes about what that person is looking for,
yeah, you've got your antenna up. You saw a post on LinkedIn, on Facebook, wherever, and you're like, oh my God, I told Sarah I would do X, and this is the perfect fit.
And now you have it, and you can solve it 3 weeks from now, 6 months from now, whatever it is. And then the beauty about that question is a lot of times they're going to say, what can I do for you? Right. And so this is going to mine back to what we've talked about is you going in with your intention and what exactly you want to ask, get your ask in here.
Right.
Whatever it is, don't care what it is, see if they can open up their network to you. And that's typically how I leave it. And then what I do is I brain dump everything. I'm a ChatGPT user. I talk to her. Her name is Gia. Her and I are best friends.
Mine flirts with me. So, I think he's Stan. He named himself and now I can't remember what it was, but yeah.
But I talk to mine and like I would drive to my next appointment. Deb and I just had a badass call for the last hour and a half. She is a Colorado native, moved to Georgia. She's been in producing and communications for years. She's looking for this. I have it go into my CRM so that I have those notes there so that when I go back to come across your name, Deb, I'm like, oh yeah, this is exactly what I talked about.
There's so many things in our little brains that no.
Right. So AI is a pretty good tool. People are really afraid it's going to put them out of business, but I'm telling you, it's a tool, folks, and I'm telling you, it will make your life easier in a lot of ways.
Right. And I want to mention the reciprocity thing. Folks, it's not a contest.
No.
It's not what can you do for me because I'm only going to do for you if you do for me. Or I actually know people who keep score, right? No, that is not helpful. And now, I'm going to overly generalize here. That's been the men in my life who, have, and I don't know, maybe it's just, I know I'm talking to a former athlete, but it does seem to be kind of a mindset that, I will do for you if you do for me. And women, I think a lot of times we still think that, but we don't keep score.
Correct.
But we're also going to look for alternative things, right?
Yes.
And and we could just be in a conversation with somebody lying at the grocery store, and it'll pop. Oh my gosh, you just said, and I don't know. It doesn't seem like men tend to do that as much. And no. I know overgeneralize all that good stuff, but yeah, reciprocity is not a contest.
Well, I think of BNI, Business Networking International, right? Dr. Ivan Meisner created this. I'll be full honest. I am in a BNI group right now. Didn't think it was part of my
count.
But they keep count. And the biggest thing that he talks about that I give him credit for is giver's gain. Okay. Yes. Sometimes not everybody in that group is your cup of tea. And I cannot say that I'm confident in 100% of my group. Right. Some people are brand new. Some people are like, no, it's just a no for me. But let me tell you, that giver's gain mentality and reciprocity, it goes so far. Okay. So even if you're not in a BNI group, if you haven't read Giver's Gain, please do.
Yep.
And I will tell you that mentality, and people are like, God, I really hope it does. It does. I promise you it does.
Right.
The world
might not
works
be
that
tomorrow,
way.
Might not be in 6 months, but it will.
It may not even be in 2 years, to be honest with you. But you keep having that mentality, and I promise you it comes full circle.
Yeah. I'm going to suggest 2 more that people, one is the obvious Bob Berg. I've had him on the podcast several times, and he is one of the nicest people in the world. But more importantly, what he talks about is spot on. And then the other thing is, as we were talking, I thought of this woman. She's another person who lives in Denver. Sometimes we're like, what are we going to talk about? Right? And I don't care if you're the extrovert or the introvert. Sometimes, you're just, her name is Deborah Fine, and she wrote The Fine Art of Small Talk. And part of, one of the things I learned from her in her book is how to escape, right? Don't do I need to go talk to Sarah over there. And then you don't come anywhere close to you because the person you just know, ways to escape when the conversation is finished. But sometimes those small talk, like we were saying, when you walk up to the introvert, You're not going to say, so tell me what you do, because they're the turtle, right? They went,
Yeah, they're gonna be like,
yes, and or you get just walk up and say, oh my God, that is a really cool tie. That
oh, I
pen
talk
is
about that in my
gorgeous.
book.
Yes, little things that break the ice, small talk, that it comes back to exactly what you were saying. It shows that you care about them.
Yes. Wear a color, guys.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
A red tie,
Mm-hmm.
a
Mm-hmm.
bow tie, a
Mm-hmm.
pin, a
Mm-hmm.
brooch,
Yep.
earrings,
Give it.
glasses.
It's a talking point.
Exactly. And
Mm-hmm.
if you are really hard at that, just be
Mm-hmm.
consistent. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
she's always the girl with the red
Mm-hmm.
glasses,
Yep.
right?
Oh yeah. People
Whatever it
remember
is.
my hair color, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful icebreaker.
Yep. Yep. Well, oh my gosh, Sarah, this has been so much fun. And it really has been absolutely fantastic, but we're out of time. And so, but for people, and like we said, whether you've been doing this every day, every week for years and years and years, or you're thinking, oh my God, I got to go network. How do they find you, and what are the services that you provide?
Yes. So for how to find me, I am most active on LinkedIn, which is Sarah Hubbard,
Yep. We'll have a
parentheses,
link to that
formerly
in the show
Flannery.
notes. Mm-hmm.
And Instagram, I am most active on. And then outside of that, my
Mm-hmm.
website is sarah@sarahhubbard.com.
Mm-hmm.
And most importantly, my inner circle
Yes.
goodness that
There's
I
a
do.
newsletter you can sign up for, folks. I'm going to sign up as soon as we're done.
You're so great. And
Mm-hmm.
I do have those prompts that you can pass out to everybody. Put the link
Mm-hmm.
in the show notes, those AI
Cool.
prompts.
Mm-hmm.
They're in my
Mm-hmm.
book. Feel
Okay.
free to take them,
Perfect.
use them. They are
Mm-hmm.
really, really helpful. And then what I am doing business-wise, if you are self-employed for a year
Mm-hmm.
or wanting some in-depth education and a true, honest answer, I'm licensed in 18 states across the country,
Cool.
including Georgia.
Nice. Mm-hmm.
I'd be happy to review any of your mortgage needs with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then in regards to the networking,
Mm-hmm.
I do run, it started in just Colorado, but now
Mm-hmm.
I'm adding a Zoom component to the Intentional Network. If
Mm-hmm.
you are interested in checking us out, first one's always on me, $600 a month for a once a month meet. And you are going to think mastermind / networking / professionals that are just badass at what they do. I line them up, they bring value in, and you can network with great people on top of leaving with good things for yourself personally and professionally. My book will be out in January of 26 called The Intentional Networker. Best way to get information on that would be to be on my Inner Circle newsletter. And Keynote. If you guys think that this has been of utmost value to you, and you have other groups or associations that think that could majorly benefit from this, I would love a connection to bring this goodness to more people.
I love it. I love it. Well, oh my gosh, we definitely will have you on again, because this is so important. And I might actually get back into networking in person.
Well, there's still beauty of it to do it online.
I mean, and I tell people, online I don't have to put on shoes.
Or you don't have to sit in traffic.
Yes. Oh, in Atlanta traffic. Oi. Yeah, no. So we will have you on again. But until then, do you have any final thoughts that you want to leave everyone with?
I've said it before and I'll say it again. Just please, please, please show up as yourself. It is the most important thing. Everybody has such immense value in beauty, no matter where you are in life, whether you are just starting, whether you're in a slump, whether you've just declared bankruptcy. There is magic in every single one of you. And the way that is going to carry through, no matter what opportunity is through relationships and being yourself. So show up as you, be curious, and you will go so far.
Oh, such wise words from Sarah Hubbard. I'm Deb Creer. And until next time, everyone have a great day.
Tune in for our next program for even more trends, best practices, and techniques for how to make your business a success. The Business Power Hour, hosted by Deb Creer, is proud to be part of the C-Suite Network.